Hi, I'm Sasha from Los Angeles, and my mom is my best friend in the world. But we weren't always so close. In fact, we'd have the most epic fights every day. But before I continue, please like and subscribe. Mom grew up in Louisiana near the bayou, and she was always a little weird. Her best friends were animals, and she had a thick southern accent, and she'd say the strangest things. It's hotter than a goat's butt in a pepper patch. But everyone was nice to her because she came from the wealthiest family in town. She met my dad in high school. They fell in love, got married, and had me. But when I turned 5, Dad begged Mom to move to California. A couple of weeks after we moved into our new house, I started to notice Mom acting strange. Late at night, she'd march up and down the sidewalk, glare up at the windows, and sneak into Dad's study. One day, I asked Mom all about it. "Oh, honey, that didn't happen. It was just your imagination." "Nuh-uh, you did it every night this week." Then Mom gave me the strangest look. And that night, I heard Mom and Dad arguing, and a couple of days later, Dad moved out. After Dad left, Mom tried to make me happy, but she only made things worse. On my 10th birthday, she threw me a huge party in our backyard with dozens of kids from school and their parents. But when my mom opened her mouth, it was a disaster. "Well, butter my backside and call me a biscuit." "Excuse me, what?" "I'm as happy as a tick on a dog." All the kids laughed at my mom. Even their parents thought she was a joke. I got so mad, I sprayed them all with the water hose. They ran away screaming. But to my surprise, instead of thanking me, Mom grounded me for a week. As the years passed, I started to notice that Mom was way too nice. When I was in middle school, Mom inherited millions of dollars. She donated a ton of it to several hospitals, and Mom's name was in all the newspapers. Next day, strangers started coming to our house to ask her for money for their fake charities and stupid businesses. "We have to save the toothpicks. Teeth are suffering all around the world." "Imagine a plate that could talk to you, then walk into the kitchen and clean itself. Dinner would never be the same." Mom just couldn't tell them no, but the moment they left, they'd call Mom an idiot and spend the money on expensive clothes and fancy cars. Of course, I didn't let them get away with it. I snuck into Mom's office and found all their addresses. Then, I'd toilet paper their house, leave poop on their doorstep, slash their tires, and leave notes demanding that they give Mom her money back or else. It was exhausting protecting Mom all the time, and I swear she never learned. We'd argue for hours about her ridiculous habits, but she refused to change. Dad was worried about Mom too, so he started to come around more. It felt really good having him back in my life. He was the best dad in the world. He took me to the movies, shopping sprees at the mall, and he even let me plan a special vacation to Las Vegas for the two of us when Mom was out of town. I was so excited. I used Mom's credit card to book a fancy room at a luxury casino with the finest restaurants on the planet. Nothing but the best for my daughter. We'd just stepped into the airport when Mom showed up and ruined everything. She canceled the trip and dragged me back home. A week later, I called Dad to apologize for Mom's behavior. "Your mom's crazy. I can't stand her anymore." "Can we hang out this weekend?" "Sorry, I'm busy. Maybe another time." I kept calling, trying to make plans with Dad, but he always made up some excuse, and when he didn't call me for my 15th birthday, I was devastated. Mom caught me crying in my room. The next day, she told me someone special was here to see me. I raced down the stairs. I just knew it was Dad, but instead, it was a huge pig named Sam, and she said he'd be my new best friend. Sam followed me around the house. He ate my homework and pooped everywhere, but after a while, I learned to love him. We took long walks in the neighborhood every day. As you can imagine, everyone in town thought I was a crazy psycho, except for my neighbor Josh. "Wow, cool. Is that a pig?" "No, Sherlock. He's a unicorn." "Can I pet him?" "No." For weeks, every time Josh saw me walking Sam, he'd run up and try to talk to me. One time, he even bought me an ice cream cone. "It's hot. I was thinking that you'd want one. I wasn't sure if you wanted a cone or a cup." "Oh no, it's melting. Oh, now your fingers are all sticky." "I'm fine. It's no big deal." "I'm so sorry. That wasn't smart. I can do better, I promise. Hold on, I'll run and get you a cup." Another time, Josh bought me a hat, a popsicle, a sandwich, a whole pizza, and a t-shirt with our faces on it. Even though he was annoying and talked about the most random things, I started to enjoy his company and developed the tiniest crush. I even let him pet Sam. "Can I really?" "Sure, but be careful. He's kinda shy." Josh rubbed Sam's head. Sam got mad and chased him into the bushes. Josh scraped his knee and started crying like a baby. Mom saw the whole thing and invited Josh inside. And as usual, she embarrassed me. "Now aren't you as cute as a button?" No wonder Sasha's been happy as a clam at high tide. Josh was totally confused. Mom, I'm just being honest, honey. You two go together like peas and carrots. Stop acting like a bump on a log. Ain't no secret that you got the hots for that boy. I was mortified. I wanted to fold myself into an envelope and mail myself to Siberia. Luckily, Mom finally left the room. Then Josh started smiling like a demented clown. Why are you looking at me like that? I've got a crush on you too. Soon, Josh and I started dating, but when his parents found out, they weren't very happy. It didn't help that my mom caught Josh's mom making fun of her at the grocery store. That woman has no class. Her clothes are a disaster, and that daughter of hers is a menace. Mom marched up to Josh's mom and started screaming like a maniac. Hold your horses, honey. If you keep talking about my daughter like that, I'm gonna slap you silly. Oh, what's that you say? I can't understand you. Maybe you should learn some proper English. Josh's mom shoved past Mom and started laughing with her friends. Mom grabbed a pie and smashed it in Josh's mom's face. Josh's mom grabbed a cantaloupe and threw it at Mom's head. Then the two of them started fighting like wrestlers in a cage match. Josh tried to break it up, but accidentally got hit in the eye by someone's elbow. Then a couple of security guards showed up and dragged them out the door. The police showed up and gave them both a warning. That night, Josh sent me the worst text ever. It said, "Hi, I can't be your boyfriend anymore. Sorry." I called Josh a dozen times, but he didn't answer. I went to his house, and his mother sent me away. I was heartbroken. Mom tried to comfort me, but it didn't help. The truth was that my mom was ruining my life, and I started to really resent her. I wanted her to change, but I knew she never would. But things started looking up in the fall. I was accepted to a fancy private school across town, and since no one knew me, it was the perfect time to reinvent myself. I changed my hair, bought new clothes, and practiced being cool in the mirror. When school started, the most amazing thing happened. The popular girls loved me. I landed a spot on the cheerleading team, and the cutest boy in school asked me out. To my surprise, I saw Josh in the hallway. He was a new student like me. He tried to say hello, but I totally ignored him. I was way out of his league. Life was perfect until Mom messed up everything. I was hanging out with Lacey and the rest of the cheerleaders when Mom showed up at school to pick me up. Look at that lady. Is that a lizard on her shoulder? Oh, no way. Is she walking a pig? They started laughing at Mom, and I wanted to fit in, so I started laughing too. I know, right? She's so disgusting. I felt bad about it at first, but I couldn't go back to being a freak. I tried to steer my friends away, but Mom saw me and rushed over. Aren't y'all precious? Fine as a frog's hair split 4 ways. It's so nice to finally meet your friend, Sasha. Then the worst thing happened. Sam squealed and then pooped on Lacey's shoes. The entire ride home, I was raging mad. I didn't talk to Mom for the rest of the night. The next morning at school was the worst. Lacey and the other kids couldn't stop talking about Mom. Who was that crazy woman, and how did she know your name? I lied and told her that Mom was my maid, and she was too poor and crazy to live by herself, so she lived at my house. And my real parents owned a successful multinational business, and they traveled to a new country every week on their private jet. Too bad for you. That really stinks. I'd have fired her a long time ago. Yeah, I know. It's hard, but I've learned to live with it. Josh overheard me talking to Lacey and ambushed me at my locker 10 minutes later. What's wrong with you, Sasha? Why would you say those mean things about your mom? Why do you care? You broke up with me because of her. It wasn't like that. It's complicated. Just like your stupid face. My parents gave me an ultimatum. They said that if I kept dating you, then they wouldn't pay my school tuition, or give me an allowance, or buy me a car. Breaking up with you was the worst decision I ever made. I regret it every day, but I didn't think I had a choice. But now I know I was wrong. I think we can make this work, but even if we can't get back together, maybe we could at least be friends? I've got plenty of friends. I'm really worried about you. You shouldn't have to pretend to be someone you're not just to fit in with those jerks. At least those jerks didn't drop me when things got inconvenient. I stormed off. I couldn't believe that Josh had the nerve to judge me. As the days passed, I ignored Mom and spent all my free time with my new friends. Then I got a phone call from my dad. He asked me to meet him after school. Promise me you won't tell your mom. You must realize by now that she's crazy. I've been trying to contact you for years, but she refused to let me see you. I met Dad at a cafe, and we talked for hours. He told me about his fabulous new life as an artist and how he traveled the world and made tons of money, but I never remembered seeing any of his paintings. He even invited me to travel with him for the summer. Then this strange man came in and Dad got really nervous.
I love you, honey. I have to go, but I promise I'll make things up to you.
Dad gave me a big hug and he left with the man. All of a sudden, I felt like I was 5 again, watching Dad leave. A typhoon of tears rolled down my cheeks. I was so angry that I'd missed out on having a dad for so many years because of Mom. By the time I got home, it was really late and Mom was upset with me.
Honey, we need to talk. You don't walk Sam anymore. You hardly spend any time with me. And every time I try to talk to you, you're madder than a wet hen and tougher than a $2 steak.
What does that even mean?
You've been difficult and you used to be sweet as cherry pie. What's going on?
It's you! You're weird and strange and everyone thinks you're a freak. You're embarrassing and you've been ruining my life since I was 5. Even Dad says you're crazy and I know you've been keeping him away from me.
Mom looked at me like she'd seen a ghost. What are you talking about?
Dad told me everything. He even invited me to travel with him for the summer. He's an artist now and he's awesome.
Your father is lying like a dog on a rug. I should have told you earlier, but your dad has some problems. He's a thief and a con artist, and he owes a lot of money to some really bad men.
I didn't believe her. I couldn't. My dad was a good guy. She was the crazy one. I was so angry, I screamed. I couldn't stand being in the same room with her for another second. I turned and ran out the front door. Then, the craziest thing happened. This van rolled up and the scary man from the cafe jumped out. He grabbed me and tried to pull me into his car. Mom and Sam appeared out of nowhere.
Let my daughter go, you low-down, dirty snake.
Mom yanked me out of the man's arms and pushed me to safety. Mom and the man fought in the street. Mom slipped, hit her head on the curb, and fell unconscious. Sam bit the man on his butt, and the man ran away screaming. A couple of neighbors called the ambulance. When we got to the hospital, they rushed Mom into emergency surgery. The police told me that they'd caught the man trying to leave town. He and my dad hatched a plan to kidnap me and hold me for ransom. My dad even had an anonymous note on his computer that he was going to send to Mom demanding $2 million for my return. The police arrested them both and threw them in jail. I felt horrible. I couldn't stop crying. Then I turned to see Josh, and he gave me the biggest hug. This is all my fault. Mom tried to tell me the truth about Dad, but I didn't believe her.
You can't blame yourself, Sasha. We all make mistakes. I'm sure your mother knows that you love her. What matters is you're here for her now.
Then the most unexpected thing happened. Apparently, news of my mom's accident had spread, and dozens of people showed up in the waiting room. They told me stories about how Mom mentored them and changed their lives.
Your mother is the smartest woman I know.
She invested in my business when no one else would.
She taught us to be ourselves. Now, we've got the most popular album in the country.
I was amazed at how much of an impact Mom had on so many people.
I told you your mom was special.
Then the doctor came out and gave us the best news. The surgery was a success. Mom was released from the hospital a week later. When she came home, I was so happy. I hugged her as tight as I could.
Heavens to Betsy, what's gotten into you?
I'm just happy you're okay. I'm sorry about everything I said. I love you so much. I'm not ashamed of you, and I'm proud that you're my mother. I know you love me in your own way.
Well, that just stills my pickle.
I'm as happy as a clam at high tide.
What does that mean? He's not the sharpest tool in the shed. The porch light's on, but no one's home.
Huh? We're just kidding. You're the smartest kid I know. I pulled Josh close, and just as I was about to kiss him, Sam jumped between us and licked my face. I'm Delphina from New York. My story starts with the day my parents decided to send me away. But before I continue, please hit like and subscribe. My parents loved me a lot, but I missed them because they were always super busy at work. And I don't have any friends, not even the imaginary ones. At least I had my grandma, my Nona, and I would always ask Dad to visit her in Sicily, but he couldn't afford the tickets for us to go every year. So for my 7th birthday, he surprised me by finally deciding to send me to Nona's place with Mom. I was ecstatic, and it was an amazing place, as was my Nona. I had a lot of fun running around her farm and petting the animals. However, the best thing about Nona's farm was the nearby beach, because that's where I met Giulia.
Wow, that sandcastle looks great! Can I join you? Only if you promise to come for a swim with me afterward. But I don't know how to swim. I'll teach you.
Easy for her to say. Giulia swam like a fish, and I had never even set foot in a bathtub. Even as a baby, my parents washed me in the backyard with a bucket and a hose. Plus, I'm not good at trying new things.
Come on, the fish won't bite. There's fish?
I imagined a gigantic shark coming up from the depths of the sea, eating my butt in one single bite. But before I could chicken out, Julia pushed me in. I flailed, terrified, but the water barely reached my waist.
See? I knew you could do it. Now take my hands and start kicking your feet. Ouch! Don't kick me. Kick the water.
Oops, I accidentally nailed her in the shin. Julia backed up a few feet before I tried again.
Yeah, just like that.
And that's how I got over my fear of trying new things. Julia was loud, sunny, and fearless, just like I wanted myself to be. That summer, we got into all kinds of trouble. We stole the fresh eggs from the chicken coop in the morning, raced after the postwoman, and made her lose all her letters. Julia was also really good at basketball, so we played until the sun went down and Nona called us home. We also invented a million new ice cream flavors, and because we needed so much milk, we had to milk Nona's cow.
Don't you think she's looking at me funny? She's a cow, and you're pulling on her udders. Of course she looks at you funny.
With Julia, I felt like I could do anything. So we milked the cow, made ice cream, and then ate so much of it that we gave ourselves stomach cramps. Might this be a lesson for the future? Excess of anything is bad, honey. But like all good things, it also ended in a blink of an eye. I was super sad to return home. I had made my first real friend, and now I had to leave her behind. I promised Julia that I would write to her every day, and I gave her a necklace made out of seashells that we had collected together.
Wow, this is beautiful. Thank you. I'll treasure it for sure.
When I got on the plane, I realized how much I had changed, and it was all thanks to Julia. Since I wasn't allowed a phone yet, and I had forgotten to get her email address, I would write Julia actual letters. Each summer, I promised I'd visit, but in the end, I never did. With time, the letters became shorter and shorter, and when I was 14, my life turned upside down when my parents divorced, and I had to move to a new house with my mom. Julia kept writing to me, but I was shattered, so I didn't feel like replying, and eventually, her letters stopped. Fortunately, my mom had made a lot of money with her novels and sent me to a new, super fancy school. However, I soon discovered that everyone here was obsessed with their looks. There was this one girl in particular, Olivia, who took an instant dislike to me. Look at what she's wearing. Are your parents in the military? Because it looks like you shop at Salvation Army. It was actually from a flea market, but her remarks were still mean. I wanted to return to my old school, but my mom had no patience with my complaints. I'll get you new clothes. What's the problem? There's nothing wrong with the clothes I already have. Other girls would be happy to have an excuse to go shopping. In the end, I found new clothes, and when I walked into school the next day, I could feel everyone looking at me with admiration. Maybe this new school wasn't so bad. But, of course, Olivia still found something wrong with me. Is that a pimple, Delphina? Oh, here, take a mint. Your breath stinks. No matter how hard I tried, every day she found something else to make fun of. Look at her hair. Is it dandruff or lice? Ew. And that was the last straw. I couldn't take her nastiness anymore. Let's see how your hair looks now. So I threw my glass of water right in her face. But Olivia dodged, and the water drenched my teacher. She went ballistic and didn't listen to me. Instead, she sent me to detention for a week with that wicked witch. After that, school was hard because Olivia wouldn't stop bugging me. One time, she literally bugged me. She spilled an ant farm on me. It was a whole thing. Somehow, I survived 2 years, and then my life took another turn. When Tristan joined my class in high school, the second I laid eyes on him, I felt my heart start to race and my stomach flip with anticipation. Or was that from the lunch in the school cafeteria? Either way, I didn't care. I had never seen anyone so handsome in my entire life. And under Olivia's stunned gaze, he walked straight up to me and extended his hand. Hello, I'm Tristan. Can I sit here? I kept staring at him. It was as if we had known each other for an eternity, just like in those romantic movies. Tristan didn't wait for a reply and just sat beside me, and he kept smiling at me. In class, at recess, at lunch. Well, in a matter of days, he became close to me and became the most popular guy in school. He always had the best brands and wore the latest fashion, and he was too good at sports, so he joined the basketball team as well. I was wondering, OMG, he joined it because of me. Well, the more Tristan paid attention to me, the more Olivia got jealous, and her pranks grew cruel. She would drop ketchup in my bag and cut my gym shoelaces. She even threw chewing gum in my hair. OMG, I'm sorry. I was spitting it out, and I don't know how it ended up in your hair.
OMG, you're such a liar. Do you always spit your gum 5 feet across the room when you're spitting it out? This is insane.
I was about to cry, but when I saw how worried Tristan was, I forgot everything, and he gently pulled it out by using the ice from the cafeteria, and I could see Olivia's face in dismay. The other day, the teacher called Olivia up to answer a question on the board when, rip, as she struggled to stand up, her pants ripped apart. Turned out, someone had put glue on her chair. Surprisingly, no one felt bad for her. I guess that's what you call karma. Revenge. Finally, she knew how I felt every day. But who could have glued Olivia's chair? I looked around, and Tristan winked at me. Did you do this?
Yeah, it was about time that someone taught her a lesson.
No one had stood up for me in all that time, and it touched my heart. I discovered that Tristan was a lot of fun, almost as much fun as Julia. And whenever Olivia tried to be nasty to me, Tristan would retaliate with an even bigger prank. Soon, Tristan and I became inseparable. In particular, we enjoyed playing basketball together. Come on, is this all you've got?
Let's play another game and I'll show you.
We played one game and then another one until it started raining, but we still didn't want to stop. But then I slipped, and luckily, I landed on Tristan's strong arm. Our eyes met, and I felt a spark between us. Wow, he's really handsome, isn't he? I was living a dream. After a few days, it was my birthday, and I could hardly wait for him to surprise me. Or perhaps propose to me. I wasn't ready for a proposal, but I did have a David's Bridal catalog, just in case. Yeah, you said something?
Me? No, nothing.
What?
Do you want to say something?
No, just focus on work. Jerk. I was so mad that he forgot to wish me a happy birthday. I couldn't even sleep. I kept tossing and turning. Just then, my phone rang, and it was him. I couldn't wait anymore, so I picked it up on a single ring.
Hi, come down, please.
What? I looked out, and Tristan was in front of my house. I got so excited that I tried to jump from the window, but then I realized I wasn't Rapunzel. But I didn't feel any less than a princess that day. My mom was away, so it was easy to sneak out of the house and go with Tristan. We drove to a quiet spot where you could see all of the sparkling lights of New York. He finally wished me happy birthday. And man, it was super romantic. The way he looked at me, perhaps he was thinking the same thing. He leaned in, and I closed my eyes, waiting for a kiss, but
I have something to tell you. I really like you, Delphina, but there are things about me you don't know, and I'm not sure I'm ready to tell you.
You have secrets?
I wasn't always the nice guy you know today.
What did he mean? What kind of dark secret could he have? I don't know if I can date someone who doesn't trust me.
That's okay, I understand, but I still need some time before I tell you.
After that, things between Tristan and me became different. I couldn't look at him without wondering what his big secret was, and my imagination was running wild. I still wanted to be his girlfriend, but I felt hurt that he couldn't trust me with a secret. What kind of couple would keep secrets from each other? The more I thought about it, the more it seemed strange that someone like Tristan could be interested in me. After all, when we met, I was the underdog, and he was the coolest guy in school. Maybe this was all a trick of some kind. My suspicions were confirmed one day when I went to basketball practice and I found Tristan and Olivia playing together. They were laughing and he was teaching her how to shoot three-pointers, which was my specialty. And when I saw them close together, I couldn't stand and watch it. I stormed onto the court and slapped him. How dare you? You played with me.
What?
I thought you didn't like her, but it looks like I was wrong. Everything you told me is a lie. Suddenly, Tristan looked super guilty, and I knew I was right. I ran away.
Wait, she told me this was your idea, that you wanted to make peace with her and forget the past.
I didn't believe him. When I got home, I was crying on my bed. I cried so much that I was suddenly sitting in the middle of a small pool. Then I slid onto the floor, and there I noticed an old shoebox under my bed. I pulled it out, dusted it off, opened it, and Julia's letters. I had almost forgotten about them. I started reading them, and it reminded me how happy I had been that summer. Julia would have never betrayed me as Tristan had. And since I'm rich now, I bought a ticket to Italy to see my Nona again, and maybe Julia.
What happened to you, dear? How about school?
It's only for a few days. Can I stay, please? Nona could never say no to me, so I spent the next few days wandering around the places of my childhood. There was so much that reminded me of Giulia, but when I went to see her house, I found it locked. It looked abandoned. I asked around the village, but even if they did remember Giulia, no one knew where she went. Also, one of my teammates texted, confirming that Olivia had really told Tristan that teaching her basketball was my idea. That sneaky witch! Of course she did! I went back to school, ready to apologize, but Tristan ignored me. He wasn't completely wrong. I slapped him, left him, and didn't trust him. Of course, he was angry with me and avoiding me, but I decided to get his attention anyway. I came to school dressed up all fancy, but everyone laughed at me. Then I tried to cook him a fishy surprise and put it in his locker, but it smelled so bad after a few hours that everyone gave him the stink eye. I even tried to dance for him at the basketball game, but I accidentally kicked Tristan as I jumped. But thanks to Olivia, she threw a banana peel on the floor, which made me slip. I was sure I would fall, but Tristan caught me midair.
Are you okay?
Yes, I'm sorry I didn't believe you. I know you'd never team up with Olivia.
You know I don't like her.
So, can you tell me your secret now? Tristan looked at me, and he took a big breath. His face got all serious.
Come with me.
Where did he want to take me? But we went to the lockers, and thankfully, the fishy smell was gone. The corridor was deserted because everyone was still at the game. He opened his locker and took out a necklace. It was made of seashells, and I immediately recognized it. I made that necklace, but I gave it to Giulia. How is he Giulia's brother? He must have some connection with her. He was looking at me with a broad, hopeful grin, and suddenly, I remembered where I had seen that smile before. You're
Giulia, but it's Tristan now.
Now that I knew the truth, I was shocked that I hadn't seen it before. That's why Tristan felt so familiar. We had met before. So, this is your big secret?
I was hoping you'd recognize me, but you never did.
You never gave me any clue.
I'm the one who taught you to play basketball.
I walked closer to look at Tristan and compared him to Giulia. Well, this version of him felt right. I couldn't imagine a grown-up version of Giulia that wasn't a boy. Is this why you never got in touch?
Yeah, I was afraid you would reject me, but I missed you too much, so I decided to risk it.
Is the fearless Tristan afraid? Tristan took my hands.
You really don't care that I was born a girl?
Giulia was my first real friend, but you were my first love, and you are perfect just the way you are. Now kiss me. And so he did, and it was the best kiss in the world. Think about your favorite spot. It's probably a tree in the woods, a couch in your sitting room, or maybe your parents' car. For me, it's always been the kitchen. In fact, this kitchen saved me from becoming a raging monster with a thirst for vengeance, destruction, devastation, and sorry. I didn't mean to scare you. I'm Lily, and before I continue, please like and subscribe. You see, my parents were amazing chefs who owned a popular restaurant in town. My grandmother was a baker extraordinaire. Dad's bread literally made grown men cry, and Mom's pasta won a dozen awards. I'd clearly inherited their love for cooking, and they started teaching me when I was really young. But the cooking gene entirely skipped my twin sister Mia. The poor thing couldn't even boil an egg right. She burned everything she baked, and once she got so frustrated that she threw a pot out the window. Cooking sucks. After that, she was banned from the kitchen for life. In middle school, Mia was the absolute worst. On my parents' anniversary, I baked a fancy cake. Then Mia burst into the kitchen on her skateboard. She banged into me and I fell face first into the cake. Oops, sorry, didn't see you there. That night, I stormed up to Mia's room, grabbed her precious laptop, and smashed it to pieces. Mia went ballistic. We fought like a pack of hyenas. Mom and Dad grounded us for a month. The summer before our freshman year, our parents sat us down and told us they wanted us to help out at the restaurant. I was so excited. I can't wait. This is gonna be awesome. Meh. But on our first day, my parents gave me the worst news. They said Mia would work in the office while I'd be a waitress. What? I can't be a waitress. I'm a chef. I've been training for this for years. My parents gave me a dozen reasons why they needed me to be a waitress, but I can't remember one. As I looked out onto the busy restaurant floor, I felt sick to my stomach. I forgot to mention, I'm terrified of crowds. I mean, it's bad. Like, one time I was in a school play. I only had one line. The moment I saw all those beady eyes staring at me,
I got so nervous, I fainted, fell backward, bumped into a backdrop that smashed into a light, and then the whole stage came tumbling down. Lily, are you listening? I don't think this is a good idea. You'll do just fine. My first shift was the worst. I screwed up 2 orders, I spilled a drink on the floor, and then one of our biggest customers, Mr. Spinster, yelled at me. My order isn't right. Did you leave your brain in the sink? Just as I was about to burst into tears, this gorgeous boy named Wyatt came to the rescue. He was a waiter at the restaurant, and everyone loved him. Wyatt calmed the customer down, fixed their order, and had them smiling in seconds. They even gave him a big tip when they left. Ignore Mr. Spinster. He's a jerk. This is for you. Wyatt handed me a $100 bill. I can't take this. You did all the work. We were a team. Then Wyatt smiled at me and put his hand on my shoulder, and my heart raced like it had just entered the Indy 500. Wyatt was my parents' best employee, and he took me under his wing. He taught me how to be a great waiter and helped me overcome my fear of crowds. There's nothing to be afraid of. Picture them as silly clowns with big red noses and floppy shoes. Soon we started dating. One time, Mia caught us kissing in the kitchen after hours. Gross, get a room. Wyatt and I had so much in common. We loved the same foods and MSA videos. He even wanted to own a restaurant someday. Wyatt was my first love, and even my parents adored him. It took some time, but Mia eventually warmed up to Wyatt after he fixed her laptop. But when school started, everything changed. Wyatt was my senior and one of the most popular boys in school. All the girls had a crush on him, but he only had eyes for me, which didn't sit well with his ex-girlfriend, Sophie. One day, Wyatt and I were talking near my locker when Sophie marched up to us. She was the most popular girl in school. Her father owned a dozen hotels around the world, and she was a social media star with millions of followers subscribing to hear about her ultra-rich life. And then Sophie shoved me to the side. Out of my way, nerd. Hey! I lost my balance and stumbled backwards. I marched towards Sophie so I could smack her in her stupid face, but then 2 huge bodyguards grabbed me and set me down 5 feet away. Sophie, why are you being a witch?
Oh, Wyatt, that doesn't matter. Listen, I was thinking breaking up with you was a mistake. I traveled the world and dated a dozen boys, but I could never stop thinking about you. I love you, Wyatt. Let's get back together and make it insta-official.
Sophie pulled out her cell phone and started recording as she leaned in for a kiss. Wyatt moved to the side and Sophie fell flat on her face. She was so embarrassed. Sorry, I have a new girlfriend. What girlfriend? Wyatt marched straight up to me. Her name is Lily, and we're in love. Sophie took one look at me and laughed. That's your girlfriend? No way! I thought she was your mutant brother that lived under the stairs because his face was so ugly, he made your mother cry. I was so mad I wanted to throw a book at her, but then Wyatt pulled me close and kissed me. Come on, babe, let's get out of here. Sophie was so angry, she started screaming like a peacock. Yeah, peacock scream. I saw it on YouTube. It's actually pretty wild. That night, Wyatt and I were in my room studying and kissing when Mia barged in. Jeez, Mia, get out! Can we have some privacy, please? What did you guys do to Sophie? She's trashing our restaurant. Mia showed us Sophie's latest live stream on her phone. So I ordered their famous spaghetti and meatballs, and it was like I was eating rubber bands. And don't even get me started on their so-called gourmet burger. It was as dry as the Sahara Desert. I had to drink a gallon of water just to wash it down. Sophie made a dozen more posts just like it and got 1 million likes. The next day, people stopped coming to our restaurant, and it continued for weeks. The bills started piling up, and my parents had to lay off most of their employees, including Wyatt. They were devastated. I tried to reason with Sophie. I'm just being honest. Your parents' food is as disgusting as your gross face. By the way, has anyone ever told you that you smell like a rotten egg that ate a pile of poop? Sophie and her friends laughed like it was the funniest joke in the world. Then something inside me just snapped. I'll show you, disgusting! I charged Sophie like a bull. I slipped past Sophie's bodyguards, punched her in the eye, and shoved her hard. Sophie fell and broke her arm. The next day, Sophie's parents filed a lawsuit against me and my family, sued my parents for a ton of money, and won. My parents' bank accounts were drained, and they were forced to close the restaurant. I felt horrible. I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. I don't know what came over me. You turned into a crazy maniac, and now we're poor. Everything will be fine. I've got this under control.
Dad took all the money out of our savings account and started giving it away to charities. He invested in a ton of shady business ventures and even threw $500 into a wishing well. Dad, have you lost your mind?
Don't worry, girls. The more money you put into the world, the more you'll get back.
That doesn't sound right. We lost our car, then our house, and then we had to live with our grandmother. Mom got so pissed, she left Dad and moved to another town. A few weeks later, Dad and one of his shady business partners were arrested and sent to jail for fraud. My life was in shambles, but at least I had Wyatt. On Wyatt's birthday, I walked to his house to surprise him with his favorite cookies, but I caught him kissing Sophie on his front porch.
Hey, loser, what's up?
Wyatt finally came to his senses. He's no longer interested in trolls. I just stood there, speechless. I couldn't believe my eyes.
If you're gonna stand there like a dummy, do you mind making yourself useful and taking a good kissing picture of us? I'm commissioning a world-famous artist to make some oil paintings of us as a couple.
How could you do this to me, Wyatt? I thought we were in love.
Things changed. I realized that I'm still in love with Sophie. Sophie convinced her dad to give me a new job at one of his restaurants. Isn't she an angel?
I'm perfect. I can't help it. I'm irresistible, like cotton candy and gummy bears.
Sophie and I never should have broken up. I didn't mean to hurt you, Lily. I hope we can still be friends.
Or not. I'm allergic to losers, and every time Lily's around, she makes me want to puke. At school, Sophie and Wyatt were all over each other. Every time I saw them, I got angrier and angrier. Mia tried to be the voice of reason. Forget those jerks. They're not worth your time. But I couldn't ignore them. I was furious. Sophie and Wyatt had to pay. I woke up early the next morning to dish out my revenge. First, I threw a rock at Wyatt's bedroom window. I slashed the tires on Sophie's car. Then, I showed up in disguise at Sophie's dad's fancy restaurant where I knew Wyatt was working. I had a bag of roaches hidden in my backpack. When no one was looking, I let the roaches loose on the floor. They jumped on tables, took a swim in a man's chicken soup, and a couple of them crawled into Wyatt's hair. The customers started screaming and ran toward the door. An old rich lady dropped her fancy purse. "Hey lady, you forgot your purse!" But the lady was so scared, she rushed right past me, hopped into her limousine, and drove off. The next day, the health inspector shut the restaurant down, and Wyatt lost his job. Mia caught me laughing in my room as I watched the whole thing on the news. I know you're behind what happened to Wyatt. You've got no proof. And even if I was behind it, why do you care? He's a jerk. You said so yourself. Who are you? And what have you done with my sister? I shoved Mia out of my room and slammed the door shut. I didn't have time for any distractions. I had one thing on my mind, getting back at Sophie. I kept following her around, ready to attack her with a paintball gun or rotten eggs. But ever since I'd hurt her earlier, the bodyguards stayed even closer to her. But Sophie was such a witch, she fired at least one of them daily and had a replacement by the next morning. Like one time, one of her new bodyguards named Simon accidentally photobombed Sophia's selfie, and she lost her mind. You stupid idiot! Your hideous face ruined my selfie!
I'm sorry, ma'am. It won't happen again.
Of course it won't, because you're fired! Simon begged Sophie to let him keep his job, but Sophie just laughed in his face. So the next day, I met Simon at a coffee shop. He was so pissed at Sophie that he wanted to humiliate her just as much as I did.
Sophie's gonna be attending a really posh event at the National Museum tomorrow. Everybody who is anybody will be there. If you're gonna try something to humiliate her, that would be the place to do it.
I was so pumped. I had the perfect time and place. Now all I needed to do was figure out how to crush Sophie in the worst way imaginable. Then the best thing happened. I was walking home when I saw this news report about how some old rich lady's purse was stolen at one of Sophie's dad's restaurants. And inside was a priceless diamond necklace. There was a $50,000 reward for anyone who returned it. The old lady's face popped up on the screen, and I immediately recognized her and her purse. I raced home and found the purse in my closet with the diamond necklace inside. Then I had an amazing idea. I could frame Sophie for stealing the rich lady's necklace and make sure she got caught at the museum event. The next day, I put on a disguise, and just as I was putting the necklace in my bag, I heard Mia behind me. You better be returning that necklace to get the reward money, because if you're planning what I think you're planning, you've lost your mind. It's none of your business. I pushed past Mia and headed toward the front door. Then a salt shaker hit me in the back of the head. Ouch! Step away from the door, sis. I can't let you do this. Mia grabbed a huge wooden spoon. I grabbed a rolling pin. I'm leaving. Then you'll have to go through me. Mia lunged toward me, and we sparred like Jedi. I knocked the spoon out of Mia's hand, then Mia threw a plate. I dove for cover. Then I grabbed a bunch of muffins off the counter and threw them at Mia one by one. Mia picked up a cutting board and used it as a shield. I grabbed a bottle of cooking oil and sprayed it in her eyes. I can't see! I darted out the door and headed straight to the museum. When I saw Sophie get out of her car, I walked up to her but was stopped by her bodyguards.
Please, sir, I'm Sophie's biggest fan. I just want her autograph. I'm saving money to get plastic surgery to look just like her.
Sophie heard that and told her bodyguards to step aside as she gave me an autograph.
Dear whoever you are, you smell like failure. Wishing you well with your life as a loser. XOXO, Soph.
While she was busy doing that, I slipped the diamond necklace into her purse, and then I stepped back and waited. Sure enough, the minute Sophie's bag went through security at the museum entrance, they found the necklace inside. She was immediately arrested and carried off by the police, kicking and screaming.
I'm innocent, you morons! Take your filthy hands off me!
On the day of Sophie's trial, I was over the moon. My revenge would finally be complete. But just as I was about to go to the courthouse to hear Sophie's jail sentence, my grandmother, Mia, and Mom confronted me.
You stupid tattletale! Why would you tell Mom?
I was worried about you. You've changed, Lily. All you think about is revenge.
Sophie has to pay for what she did. She took everything from us.
Dad made his own mistakes, and you can't keep living in the past and blaming yourself.
You have to forgive, honey. Wyatt and Sophie don't deserve my forgiveness. We're not talking about them. You have to forgive yourself. Tears streamed down my face as the weight of the guilt I was carrying dropped down on me like a ton of bricks.
We're here for you, Lily. You're better than this. You have to let this go and move on.
I went to the courthouse and told the judge that it was all a misunderstanding. I explained how I'd found the diamond necklace and gave it to Sophie to return to the lady.
Is this true?
Sophie went along with my story, and the judge dismissed the case. Afterward, Sophie came up to me.
Why did you do that?
I ruined your life, and you could have easily ruined mine. Because someone reminded me that I'm a better person. After the trial, I apologized to Wyatt for what I did, and he said he was sorry for being a big fat jerk. I also started working on my anger issues. I went to counseling, started cooking again, and doing lots of yoga. Sophie's dad felt so bad about what Sophie did to me that he gave me a huge check. No, thank you, sir. Your apology is enough. Mia pulled me to the side.
It's great that you're zen and all now, but don't be stupid.
Mia was right. I ran to catch up with Sophie's dad. Excuse me, sir. On second thought, we'll take the check. I used the money to reopen our family restaurant. Dad even came to the opening since he got out early on good behavior, and it was the happiest day of my life. I was standing on the balcony in my room, screaming my lungs out, while my cousin Catherine stood next to me.
Hello? Hello? Save me from this wretched queen and her snooty bodyguards. I will give 10,000 gold coins to anyone who saves me. No one can hear you, Merida, and even if they did, they won't go against the queen's orders. When I'm queen, I will demolish this stupid castle and build a big house with glass windows, and everyone can visit me, and I'll have lots of friends and pets and pastries. No, not pastries, they give me a sugar rush. Okay, so only friends and pets then. You wish. Just then, I heard the queen screaming my name, and I ran in the other direction to save my soul.
Hi, I'm Merida, a real-life princess from someplace in the world. Please like and subscribe. My mom, the queen, was really strict, but she wasn't always like this. She used to be a fun-loving mom who loved spending time with me. But when I turned 5, Dad went out hunting. He fell from his horse, hurt his back, and was permanently bedridden. Mom had to take up all his responsibilities, and since then, she turned into the Wicked Witch of the West. To make matters worse, when I was 7, I was with my mom inaugurating a children's park when this homeless guy picked me up and started running. The guards caught him and saved me almost immediately, but Mom became extra paranoid and never allowed me to leave the palace. I wasn't allowed to go to school or play outside like normal kids. Growing up, the only friends I had were the palace workers or my royal tutors, who were really boring. My life sucked, and I hatched a new plan every week to escape the palace. Like this one time when I was 13, I tied a bunch of bedsheets and hung it down from my window. I was about to climb down when I saw how high it was and I chickened out. And another time, I climbed into the back of a van carrying pigs for the royal poultry farm.
You, pig guy, drive or I'll behead everyone. Not the pigs, obviously. They're cute. But I will behead you, I promise.
The guy shot me a look and started driving. But 30 seconds later, the royal guards caught on to me. Mom found out and went ballistic.
What were you thinking, Merida? That driver could have harmed you and taken you away forever.
And that would have been a dream come true. Even staying with pigs is better than staying caged in a castle for one more day. I'm bored, annoyed, and I hate it here.
It's for your own safety. Now quit complaining and go to your room.
But I wasn't gonna give up so easily. So the next day, while Mom was away on palace duties, I tried sneaking out the kitchen back door, but my foot got caught on something. I tripped and crashed into a servant carrying a bunch of plates, and she landed on her butt. Are you okay? I looked up to see a girl my age staring in my face. She helped me get up, and just then, Mom came running.
What have you done? That was really expensive china.
Wow, Mom! You could have asked me if I was fine, but no, expensive china is more important. You know what I mean.
And I see you've met Catherine.
And that's how Catherine came into my life. Her dad was my dad's younger brother, and I'd met her when we were kids, but then she moved to France, and now Mom had invited her back to the palace. Catherine and I quickly became friends and spoke about everything under the sun. I told her about my boring life and how I was stuck in the castle, while Catherine told me all about her travels, which sometimes made me jealous. You know, Paris is really pretty. I love sitting on top of the Eiffel Tower and staring at the city. It's magical. And did you know that street churros don't taste the same as the ones we eat here? Of course you wouldn't, because I can't leave the castle. I know, you don't have to rub it in my face. Sorry, I didn't mean to, but why don't you just sneak out? You think I haven't tried? My mom has the nose of a dog. She can smell me out. But you didn't really have help before. Really? You'll help me? Of course. What are sisters for? Catherine kept her promise, and the next day when Mom left for her daily royal duties, she led me through the back gate of the castle. The guards were scattered everywhere, so Catherine and I had to be careful. We were hiding behind a huge wall, trying not to get spotted, when a huge trash truck stopped right in front of us, and Catherine signaled for me to climb in. This is your brilliant idea to sneak me out? A trash truck? I'm sorry if it's not up to your expectations, but it's literally the only way out that will escape the guards' attention. Whatever, fine. After the longest, bumpiest, and smelliest ride of my life, the truck finally stopped. Without warning, Kathy yanked me out like a bag of potatoes, and we fell into some bushes nearby. Welcome to the real life, princess. Let's go. I look like a homeless person dipped in a pile of poop. I'm not going anywhere looking like this. But it's the perfect disguise. Who would think a princess is walking around smelling like a pig? Hey, watch it. Don't forget that when I'm queen, Yeah, you'll behead half the population. Can we go now? We only have a few hours before the queen comes back. It took years before I was finally out of that miserable palace. So I didn't want to waste any time. Catherine took me to a photo booth to capture my first day out, and we ended up clicking a dozen pictures. I was still in the photo booth when she went outside to get something to eat, and this really cute boy walked in. I tried to run away before the boy saw my face, but I tripped over my own foot and went flying into his arms.
Whoa. Is it fate, or did the most beautiful girl in the world fall into my arms?
He smiled and my heart raced, but just as he came closer, I started sneezing like crazy.
Are you okay?
I'm sorry. I must be allergic to something. Just give me
Just then, the curtain flew open and Kathy angrily pulled me out. The hot dogs in her hand went flying, and one of them hit the pretty boy in the eye.
Ow! Wait, will I ever see you again?
No, now get out of our way! As Kathy dragged me away, I waved goodbye to the boy, feeling like I'd just lost the love of my life. We went through a secret tunnel through a church that opened at the backside of the castle, and I was stunned to know that something like this even existed. We quickly slipped inside the castle before someone noticed. Wow, that was so cool. How did you know about this? My dad might have mentioned it. Then why did you drag me through the trash truck? Seriously? That's your concern? If that boy hurt you, the queen would have killed me for sneaking you out. It was a mistake, and I'm not doing it again. But now, I didn't need Catherine's help. I already knew about the secret tunnel. So the next day, I sneaked out through the passage and went straight into town. I went back to that photo booth where I saw the same boy sitting outside kicking the air.
You came. I was hoping I'd run into you again. I couldn't stop thinking about you.
Neither could I.
I'm Romeo.
I'm Juliet.
Right. Wanna get out of here, Juliet?
It was lame, but I wasn't gonna tell him my name yet. I need to trust him completely. And for all I know, his name wasn't Romeo either. Over the next few days, I sneaked out every day just to meet Romeo, and I was smitten. He was cute, fun, really kind, and even volunteered at a local children's hospital at times. One day, he took me to the hospital with him, and I could see how everyone's eyes just lit up seeing Romeo.
Hi, Romeo. Is this your new girlfriend? She's very pretty. Are you guys gonna get married?
Well, her name is Juliet, so the chances are high.
I blushed as Romeo winked at me, and my insides exploded with excitement. Later that evening, he asked me out, and we shared our first kiss, which was magical. I knew I was falling for him. So a few days later, while I walked back home, I decided to tell Mom everything about Romeo. But just as I crossed the secret passage, I saw a bunch of guards waiting for me on the other side. The head bodyguard, Markle, immediately grabbed me and carried me as I kicked and screamed.
Hey, put me down right this minute, or I'll have your head served to me on a platter.
Sorry, princess, but the queen'll skin me alive if I don't deliver you to her. I prefer to be beheaded at this point.
Oh, you stupid bug-eyed giant mooncalf! I'll make your life miserable when I'm queen.
Can't wait.
Markle finally sat me down, and a second later, Mom walked in looking pissed. She threw a bunch of photographs on the table along with a news article. I stared in shock with all my pictures all over the tabloid with the most hideous headline. The princess who smells like rotten eggs and kissing a commoner is a disgrace and not fit to rule. Hey, that's not fair. I do not smell like rotten eggs. You think this is a joke, Merida? I've spent a lifetime building my reputation, and I will not let you destroy it in seconds. And how dare you leave without my permission?
Mom, come on. It was only one outing. Okay, 2. Okay, sorry, 20. But look at the bright side. Nothing happened to me.
No one kidnapped me, which means it's safe to travel outside. But Mom didn't care and left angrily. The next few days were miserable. The security around me was tighter than ever, and this time, no one was allowed to enter my room, not even Catherine. Things got worse when a week before my 18th birthday, Mom announced my engagement to the prince of some country. Can't say the name, sorry. And along with that, the date of my coronation. I felt lost and furious. Late one night, I was sulking in my room when someone knocked on my door. I opened it and saw Romeo standing outside. I pulled him in immediately before someone saw him. What are you doing here? If my mom sees you, you're dead meat.
I will leave, Merida, but before that, you need to know something. Catherine isn't who you think she is.
What do you mean? Before Romeo could say more, the door burst open and Mom came in with Catherine and some guards who immediately grabbed Romeo. Mom, no! Let him go! I can't believe you would stoop so low, Merida. Wasn't it enough that you embarrassed me in the newspapers, that now you were planning on escaping with this peasant? Mom, Romeo is a very nice guy, and I wasn't going anywhere with him. You can ask Catherine. She's met him before. Tell them. I have no idea what you're talking about, Merida. I've never seen this guy before in my life. Why are you lying? I'm not. I was in my room when I heard noises coming from your chamber. I heard him telling you that he's here to take you away. And as a loyal servant of the royal court, it was my duty to inform the queen. You backstabbing witch! I will— Enough! I'm so disappointed in you, Merida. Now, until the members of the royal court decide what to do with you, you will not leave your room. For the next couple of days, I was locked in my room with 2 guards at the door the whole time. I had no idea what happened to Romeo, but I prayed he was okay. About a week later, I was summoned by the royal court members who had apparently made a decision about me.
After a week of deliberation, the royal court has concluded that Princess Merida has gone against Act 54 of the royal constitution that states, "The queen in line shall not interact with commoners or have personal relations with them before her coronation."
Seriously? There's a constitution like that?
Shh! The princess has not taken her duties seriously. Therefore, she will be replaced by the next person in line to the throne.
Wait, Catherine? Seriously? Unbelievable!
Merida, be respectful before the members of the court.
No, if all of you think that I'm the problem and Catherine is the next best thing,
then I have no respect. And what's wrong with interacting with the very people, commoners, we're supposed to rule? I was about to storm off when suddenly Romeo ran in through the doors with several guards following behind him. Catherine's eyes widened in shock as he marched straight to Mom. How did you get out?
I've lived on the street. We pick up a trick or two when it comes to escaping. But first, everyone needs to know the truth. My name is Romeo Buffet. I met the princess through Lady Catherine, who paid me to lure her out of the palace, expose her face to the media, and ruin her name.
You did what? Romeo went on to tell everyone how his little sister was a patient at the children's hospital where he volunteered. She was sick and needed surgery.
I needed money for the surgery, so when Lady Catherine approached me to work for her, I couldn't say no.
He's lying. He has no proof.
You can see my phone. I have the messages. Your Majesties, I did a terrible thing trying to ruin the princess's reputation, and I couldn't live with myself if I didn't confess the truth.
Kathy, why? Suddenly, Catherine turned to me with angry, bloodshot eyes. Because this crown belongs to me. It should have gone to my dad after his brother fell sick. But you, Queen, you snatched it away. My father lived in misery all his life when he was the rightful king. So that's why you came back, for the crown. Of course. You thought I came here to be friends with your sorry butt? Please. I hired this butthead so I could somehow ruin your reputation in front of the court, and your mom would banish you from the throne on her own. I would have succeeded if this jerk wouldn't have barged in. I'm gonna kill you when I'm the queen.
Which will be never. I've heard enough. Get this girl out of here. And if I ever see your face near the palace again, Catherine, you'll never see the light of day again.
The room was quiet as Kathy was dragged out of the hall kicking and screaming. And that was the last time I saw her. The queen then got up, grabbed the scroll from the royal speaker, and tore it to pieces.
What are you doing, Your Majesty? That's the only copy of the Constitution there is. I'm the queen, and I make or break the Constitution. I'm sorry, Merida. I thought I was doing the right thing by keeping you safe, but sometimes parents can be wrong.
I wasn't the best daughter either, Mom. I made life tough for you when all you wanted was to keep me safe. I promise I'll be better. Mom and I hugged it out and finally made up. Overcome with emotion, I ran to Romeo and hugged him too. I'm still mad at you for deceiving me, but I get why you did what you did. Also, I missed you a lot. Think we could start again?
Nothing would make me happier.
Romeo and I started dating officially. His sister's surgery was a success and was fully paid for by the palace. 2 years later, I was officially 21. Romeo and I tied the knot, and I was ordained as the next queen. Don't worry, I haven't beheaded anyone yet.